Okay, so I can start now. Yeah, the topic is effective communication and conflict resolution. And we have some highlights, some synopses, about three of them under this topic. Assertive versus aggressive communication. Number two, handling difficult conversation. And three, conflict resolution steps. Yeah. So my style of presentation, like I said earlier before the recording starting, is that I'm always a very interactive person. So we're going to interact together, and I'm also a storyteller. that was missed out of my profile reading. So we're going to go through a story. I understand that all the audience, all my audience today, all of them might not be Muslims entirely. So I may have non-Muslim amongst my audience, which is very fine. I'm okay with that, and I will respect your views as well by not by respecting our religious boundaries. So the story I'm going to narrate is story of Prophet Yusuf as narrated in the Quran, which also has similar narrations in the Bible and other books. So I think this is a meeting point. It's a point. The story will serve as a confluence point for us all, even if you are not a Muslim like myself. We all benefit from the story. And we're going to go through this topic of effective communication, conflict resolution, and all the highlights within this story. You'll find everything within this story. I promise you. Okay. So there are a lot of theories. There are a lot of theories when you talk about communication, you talk about Can I moderator, can I go on? I think somebody has to mute his speaker.
Mike.
Can I proceed? Okay. So there are a lot of theories where you try to check for communication online and conflict resolution. In fact, the essence of this presentation and this lecture generally, this program, is for us to drift away from theories. Let's just leave theories for the universities. Let's talk about practicals, the practicality. Let's do a reality check of our lives, of our relationships, and how they concern communication and conflict resolution. Because these two things are key features in our lives, in our relationships, regardless of wherever you find yourself, in your marriage, in your work, on your street, in your community, in your family. There will always be these two things: communication and conflict. So there are a lot of theories of communication. There are a lot of theories of conflict, but I won't bore you with all that. And that is why what you'll be learning today would benefit you more, because we talk about real life scenarios. Firstly, by learning from what happened to the prophet that we want to talk about, they will now relate it to our own lives as well. They will now do we do a group meditation and reflection on how communication and conflict has played out in our lives, how we've managed it, and with the knowledge we are getting today, how we are going to manage our communication more effectively and resolve our conflicts more appropriately going forward. So let us begin. The usual style of presentation is to define what communication is and what conflict is. It is not my own style to define. I will not be defining all these things. Just if you want to learn the meaning of communication, Google it. You want to learn the meaning of conflict, just ask ChatGPT. It can give you a whole full textbook of conflict. Okay, but in the common language, in the layman terms, communication is, the expression of opinion, the expression of one's opinion and feelings. And sometimes it is reflective. That is, it may be personal. Because many times we view communication as a two-way thing. There's a party and there's another party, exchanging words, talking to one another, saying things and responding. But sometimes communication can be reflective, can be personal, because it's tied to our relationships. And in our society, or in our life generally as human beings, we maintain three types of relationships. The first is relationship with our Creator, the one who creates us. Then the second relationship is with our fellow human beings. The third relationship is with ourselves, with our own personal self. So that is why I said sometimes communication can be personal, can be reflective. In fact, in most cases, before you are able to ensure effective communication, meaning conversation with anybody, you have to converse with yourself first. You have to talk to yourself first. Do you agree? You have to talk to yourself first. Because in there's a theory of communication, the three R's that says review, recognize, and respond, amongst many other theories. Like I said, I will not bore you with theories. Reviewing whatever anybody says means that you first of all try to analyze it in your own mind. Talk to yourself about it. What is this person trying to say? What is the meaning of this? What is the significance of what he just said now? And how do I respond? But why we always have problems in communication is because many of us don't process what others are saying or what we are hearing. And instead of us to respond, we react. There's a difference between response and reaction. When you respond, it's like me asking you, how are you? And you say, I'm fine. I've asked you a question and you've responded. But when I asked you, how are you? I said, ask me again. You did not respond, though. You react. Yes, you have succeeded in reacting, not responding, because that is not a response to that question. So sometimes communication can be reflective, it can be personal. We need to talk to ourselves as well. The way we talk about conflict is simply a divergence of opinion, a contradiction in interests, in opinions, in desires, in decisions. When two things are opposite, that is conflict. When two things are opposite, that is conflict. So when two ideas are opposite, opinions are opposite, it could be two or more. But when they are opposite one another, then that is conflict. So that's just a layman definition of these two terms. So let us go into that story and begin to learn what effective communication is, what conflict resolution is, what are the steps, how do you handle difficult conversation, how do you know you are assertive, how do you know you are aggressive. Let us begin. In the story of Prophet Yusuf, otherwise called Joseph, there are great lessons to learn, like I said. And I'll be giving us the narration from my own scripture that I believe in, which is the Quran. And like I said, you can find similitude of this story in other books too, especially the Bible. Maybe not the same accurate account as I'll be saying it from the Quran, but at least there are a lot of similar events in the story in the two books. So it begins here. The story begins with Prophet Yusuf narrating. He had a dream. He had a dream that 11 stars, the sun and the moon were bowing down for him. So when he had that dream, he told his father. He narrated the story to his father. Now, look at this. The first thing Yusuf did was to tell his father the dream. So, sorry, he narrated the dream to the father, not the story. So the first thing he did was to narrate the story, the dream to his father. What has happened there? Communication. Communication. When you have issues, you have challenges, you have problems, you are confused, the next thing you should do is to talk out. Speak out. Express yourself. Talk. Don't wait. Don't keep yourself hidden. Don't wait till the point of that breaking point where you can't take it anymore. That is where you now voice out. By that time, things might have gone very, very wrong. And it may be too late. So immediately you have a challenge, you are confused, you don't know what to do. Speak out. Speak to someone you trust. I'll still talk about all the guidelines and rules and all the theories. The points of communication. I will just talk about all that towards the end. But let us be practical.
Yes.
So when he said that, when he narrated the dream to his father, the father being a trusted friend to his son and somebody with wisdom. Again, to have an effective communication requires wisdom. If you are speaking to somebody who is not wise as you, the person may mislead you and the communication will not be effective. So he spoke to his father. The father was able to decipher the meaning of the dream. Immediately, he realized that his son is about to become a prophet like him, because that is a sign of prophethood. So he told his son that do not narrate this story, this dream to your brothers. The Quran says, فَيَكِيدُ لَكَ كَيْدًا, so that they will not plot against you. Because when you narrate this dream to them, they will plot against you. There's something special about this dream. There's something powerful about that dream. For 11 stars and the moon and the sun to bow down to a human being, it is not anything ordinary. But it is not as if Yusuf telling his brothers this dream is what is going to bring the problem or what's going to create the problem. The problem has been there before. The father understood that Yusuf's brother have been jealous of him ever since before that time, before he had the dream. They've been envious of him, right? So, and this is it. This is the point. For every conflict to surface, before a conflict, there have been other underlying issues. One of it is fear. One of it is envy. One of those issues is jealousy. One of those issues is emotion, and you can now begin to name the emotion. It could be guilt, it could be betrayal, it could be regret, right? It could be jealousy, it could be anything. So there are underlying emotions behind every communication and every conflict. So now, those things have been there. Then the father told Joseph, don't narrate this dream to your brothers because they'll plot against you. Not because of the dream itself, per se, but because of what the issues that I've mentioned before. But even as it is, despite the fact that Prophet Yusuf did not narrate this dream to his brothers, yet they still plotted against him. Meaning that it was not the dream actually. What you see as conflict, what you see as oh, this is the problem, may not be the problem. Look inward, or should I say look downward? Try to look through the problem down to the root of it. Many problems we see today are not even the problems. When a car breaks down, the car breaking down, refusing to work is not a problem. Something caused the problem. This could be the engine, it could be the carburetor, it could be something caused the problem. So it wasn't the dream that caused the problem, because the dream, Yusuf did not, there was no any account of that story that says that Joseph narrated that dream to his brothers. He didn't narrate the dream to his brothers. So it wasn't what the father thought could create problem that created the problem, but other things, other little things that were overlooked. So in communication and conflict, there are a lot of things that we overlook that we're supposed to pay attention to. So if you want to have effective communication, you need to pay attention. You need to be attentive. And you need to listen. You need to listen. In fact, what makes communication to be more effective is the listening ability of whoever is involved in that communication. What happens, what we get today is hearing, not listening. That's what we get from people. People just hear, they don't listen. Because the difference between hearing and listening, as we are in this program, as I'm talking, you cannot hear me. You can all hear me. But then we need to ask again, are you listening? Because listening is when you hear with your mind, not with your ears alone. Hearing is where you hear with your ears. And that way it is easy. As it's coming through the right, it's going through the left. But when you hear with your mind, it's coming through your ear, it goes to your brain sends it to your mind, and it remains in your mind. That is listening. And because it is there in your mind starts working over what you just heard. It starts processing it, and it tells you the next thing to say or how to respond. So for you to have effective communication, you have to listen. And for you to have effect, to resolve conflict as well, you have to listen to the other person. Sometimes we are the one at fault. We are the one at fault. We cannot blame a prophet of God. We cannot blame the father of Yusuf. But it was recorded in history, in the story of Joseph, Prophet Yusuf, that the father, Prophet Jacob, had so much love, too much love for Yusuf. He loved him so much that it was glaring to his brothers that their father loved their brother much more than them. Of course, we cannot blame a prophet of God, because Jacob was also a prophet of God. So we cannot blame him for that. But that is an human factor that has come to play in this whole story. It's a human factor that has come to play in this whole story, because it is not Yusuf that was at fault. It wasn't really Joseph that was at fault. What did he do to his brothers? But the story of the ordeal of Joseph started with his own father, by the father showing too much love to him at the expense of the remaining brothers. Do we understand? So sometimes the communication we are having that is not effective, the other person is not responding as we expected. The communication is not flowing. We are not happy with one another. We are not discussing as husband and wife. We are not relating as cordial as it should be in our workplace with our colleagues or with our boss. We are not cordial with our friends, or maybe between a teacher and a student. So sometimes it is our home problem. We are the source of that problem. We are the cause of that problem, not the other person. But it is human nature to attribute blame to other people. That is human nature. So proceeding in this story. So the brothers later, they plotted against him. Sorry, moderator Sister Muiba, when am I supposed to stop for a break?
By 12.
So we'll have break till when?
Just 10 minutes or 15.
10 minutes. Okay. Then after that break, we can now discuss. We can now make it an open floor. So I'll just keep talking because it's a story. I need to narrate it to the end. Then after the break, we'll now make it an open session where all of us will talk. Okay?
All right.
I think that is fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they plotted against him. At the point of trying to plot again, trying to do him harm, because when they took him out, when they asked their father that they want to take him out, the father, had these misgivings that, oh, hey, these boys, they want to go and they want to harm their brother Yusuf. The father had that feeling, but at that point, he could not, restrict Yusuf from following his brother. He couldn't hold him down because he was trying to be careful. Now he realized why he needs to be careful as a father, not to show too much love. Because if he asks Yusuf to stay and the brother should go to the farm, then it will become even more open and clear that, oh, this our father doesn't like us at all. He only likes that boy. So just with one mind, he said, okay, to let him follow you, but don't do him any harm. And don't come and tell me that he has been eaten by a fox, by an animal in the bush. And that was exactly the narration they took back to their father, that the fox has eaten him. But at the point where they wanted to harm him, when they got to the farm, they took him into the interiors of the bush, of the forest. So they wanted to harm him. Then, at that point, because they just had this bad feeling for Yusuf, they didn't actually know what they would do to him. They just want to harm him, Kawai, but they didn't know how they want to harm him or in what way. So they started deliberating among themselves, what should we do to him? Some said, let's kill him. So I don't know, we cannot kill him with our own hands now. They started deliberating. Then the younger brother of Yusuf, because in the story, in the family setup of Prophet Yusuf, there were 12 children, right? But Yusuf was not the last. Yusuf had another brother who happens to be the last. That is Bunyamin, otherwise called Benjamin. So Yusuf and Bunyamin were the two sons of their own mother. The remaining 10 children belongs to other wives. But because the reason why, and that is why I said you can't blame Jacob as such. You can't blame Prophet Yakub, because those two children lost their mother at a very tender age. Yusuf and his brother Bunyamin, they lost their mother at a very tender age. So the father, that affection, he poured that affection on them because they had no mother. And that was why the love was so much. Now, the brother Benjamin now made a point when they were deciding on what to do to Yusuf. If you notice, Benjamin did not side with his own brother, because he feared that if he sided with his brother Yusuf, he might also be killed. So he sided with the other brothers. So and it's just like what they said, that if you can't beat them, you join them. So he joined them because you cannot beat them. So, but he said, why not let us throw him inside the well? Instead of killing him, let's throw him inside the well. So, and that single remark saved the life of Joseph. They threw him into the well, but as you know, because he's a prophet and he has a prophecy to fulfill, and Allah has destined what is going to be in the future, he was saved. Allah sent an angel to go to the bottom of the well and make sure that Prophet Yusuf did not drown in that well. So when they threw him, he landed on the wings of an angel, so he was saved. Now, this is something about conflict resolution. There was conflict at that point where the brothers were deciding what to do with Yusuf. What did his brother Benjamin said? What did he do? He collaborates. In conflict resolution, one of the major steps that you should always take in conflict resolution is to collaborate. How do I mean? I'm not saying that you should join forces with your enemies, but what you should do is try to be part of the discussion. You cannot resolve a conflict by saying, no, I don't want to sit down to talk with all of you. There's a problem in the office, and you are being invited to come, and you had a problem with a colleague in the office. Okay, some people want to mediate between you. Oh yeah, wow, come, we'll sit and let us talk. He said, no, 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 I cannot even sit with him. That is wrong. You need to collaborate with anyone with the party that is interested in solving that problem. You collaborate. Then there's another step in conflict resolution: compromise. Benjamin also compromised because he weighed the pros and cons of what is about to happen. If they kill his brother, it means he's dead. Now he's dead and he's gone forever. But if they throw him inside the well, perhaps he may be saved one way or the other. So he compromised. Sometimes to resolve the conflict between you and other people, between you and your husband, between you and your wife, between you and your children, between you and your colleague at work, between you and anybody, your neighbor, whoever it is, sometimes you need to compromise. You need to compromise. And compromise means that you sacrifice some things that you really want. And that person also sacrificed some things, some of his desires, for you to arrive at a conclusion that at least suits both of you. So compromise is you dropping part of your interest. If your interest is 100%, you drop 50. Another person drops 50. So 50 plus 50 makes 100. So you share that 100. You don't have 100, he doesn't have 100. But you both have 100 together. So you shared 50-50. That is compromise. So in conflict, you need to learn how to compromise. But compromise doesn't mean dropping your standard though. It doesn't mean, oh, you are not a no-nonsense person, you are no nonsense person. But because you want to compromise, you now start taking nonsense. No, that is not what we mean. That is not what we mean. In fact, I will dwell more on this topic next week by the grace of God, when we talk about setting boundaries. So compromise doesn't mean dropping your standard. It means leaving part of what you want, part of what you had wanted, part of your desires. Okay, that is what it means. So, and there are instances where we'll talk about real life scenarios, okay, as we move on. So, the brother compromised, so they took Yusuf and threw him in the well, but he was saved. Then later, miraculously, he was saved from the well. Some travelers were passing by, they needed water. So, I mean, the brothers, they went home, so they killed an animal and poured the blood on Yusuf's clothes and took the clothes to their father. That, see, your son is dead, though. We were walking and he just strayed. He moved away from us. And before we knew it, a wild animal in the forest killed him. This is his cloth. So the father cried. He cried his eyes out. You understand? And of course, the brother knew that they did wrong. But it was later that they realized what they've done. It was later they realized what they've done. And they cried for it, actually. Because in the end of this story, they sought forgiveness from Yusuf. They were very, very remorseful. So the point here is that sometimes, you see, that person that is giving you problem, headache, may not really know what he's doing. But your own patience, when you are patient, your own patience may lead to the person realizing what he has done. And he may later seek forgiveness from you. So sometimes you need to be patient, prayerful, and see how events will turn out. It will turn out in your favor if you are patient. Yes, because God is always with the patient ones. If you are patient, yes. But again, patience doesn't mean that you don't speak out. It doesn't mean that you take all the sufferness and you don't even say anything to anybody. No. Patience is you manage the situation. You persevere. You try to cope with the situation while looking for a way out of the problem. While looking for a way to resolve the conflict. While looking for a way to bring about change in the relationship. Yes. It's not as if you say, yeah, me, I'm patient. You will not talk, you'll be suffering. No. You are taking, yes, you are withstanding that situation, that problem, that suffering, but you are at the same time, you're looking for a way out. That is what patience means. So now, some passers-by, they took they took Yusuf as a slave. He brought him as a slave into their house. So, because Yusuf, as we read in the story, he was a very handsome person. Very, very handsome. But because of he was thrown into the well, he moved together. Those ones that took him out, they were passers-by, they were traders. So they took him through the desert, they were moving here and there. So he was covered with dust and dirt. So when slave and took him home, he of ease to go shower, to go clean up, and to start working in the house as a slave, as a servant. When he took the shower, he came out. The woman won't be a human being. This boy is so handsome. So, to the extent that the woman wanted to have an affair with him. And what did they say? And it was not even that particular day. It was not that particular day. It wasn't that particular day. When he cleaned up himself and he started working in the house as a servant, running errands for his master and his master's wife, the woman has been eyeing him that so a woman being can be as handsome as this, can be as beautiful as this. So after a while, the woman contemplated having an illicit affair with him. So he took him into her personal confinement, and she told him that I want you to have illicit affair with me. Then at that point, what did Jesus say? He said, that no, I can't do this now because my master takes care of me. My master is good to me. Now, handling the So in this part of the story now, we're going to treat handling difficult conversation because it's a difficult conversation. And what are those things that make conversation to be difficult? Negative things, usually. Fear can make it difficult. Emotions can make it difficult. Right? Ego can make it difficult. Somebody having the ego, somebody feeling bossy, seeing himself as mini God can make a conversation to be very difficult. Okay? So now let's see the woman as that person that is making this conversation to be very difficult for Yusuf because of the gap. She's the master's wife, more like the master. And Joseph is just like the servant. So it's a master-servant conversation, and it's very difficult, actually. So she said, I want to do this. And he said, no, my master takes care of me. I can't betray him. Now, one thing you should do anytime you're having a difficult situation, be truthful. Don't be driven by emotion. Don't let your emotion override your thinking, your logical reasoning. The first thing to do when you're having a difficult situation is to be truthful. Don't lie. Don't be coerced into telling lie or trying to cover up. Just lay it bare. So he said it because what at that point when because the woman undressed herself, and for any man that finds himself in that situation, it's the greatest temptation it's the highest temptation that anyone can think of. But Yusuf was logical to some extent. He said, my master takes care of me, so I can't do this. So he was truthful. Then the woman tried to force him. Then he ran away. Again, when you're having difficult conversation, when you see that you or the other person is not listening, he's just hearing, he's not listening, then don't say anything again. Yes, silence is golden. You save from a lot of troubles. Let me share a real life story with you. I like sitting with elderly people. I was with somebody some days back, an elderly person, not too elderly, but I think he should be close to maybe 50s, yes. So I sat with him, we were just discussing life generally. So I was giving him an advice, a business advice and all that, because this person is, he retired, he resigned from work. Not as if he has reached the retired stage, he resigned from work. Manager of a big multinational company in Ibadan. So there are reasons why he resigned actually, health reasons and some other reasons. So I was not advising that why not, he's into just petty business, why not set up a business management company where you can help people manage their businesses, maybe their investments or assets. So he said, oh, Ustaz, I was formerly into that, but something happened. So he told me the story, and I'll share it here. He said he was the one who used to build houses for his brothers. Most of his brothers are outside the country, and his brothers he came from an extended family. So many of his brothers, friends, people around him, from their hometown, they are outside the country. So because people see him as a very trusted person, so he was the one given the houses to do this, to manage that. So that was what he was doing. So he and he actually got a lot of money from that because they pay him well. Like, oh, you built this house for me without cheating me. Oh, what do you need? That kind of thing where you be impressed by what somebody has done and you try to compensate them for that. So he used to get many rewards for that, and he was living his life on that. Really, he was very okay. So he had a friend who they lived under the same roof for about 12 years. Could you imagine that it was this same friend that was talking to one of his brother, one of this person, let me just call him my friend. That his own friend was speaking to this my friend's brother, elderly brother, the one that was much richer amongst them. So he started defaming his friend. Toja Babolo. So he was defaming his friend that you can't. He has two cars now. He has two cars and you don't know about it. He's getting all the money from you. So the brother came home and he came to Nigeria and he had a meeting with he had a family meeting and he raised that issue. So and this my elderly friend was like, I don't know. I bought the car, but it is not as if I've cheated anyone. I didn't do that. I have other things I do with my life and other ways I get money now. It's not as if it's from the money you give me that I bought all these things. You are good to me, yes. But me telling you that I bought a car, I don't see it as because the brother was saying that you bought a car, you couldn't even tell me you bought a car. Not to cut the story short, it became a big problem. And the brother started calling all other brothers and friends outside the country who used to give this man a project to do. That you must never give him project to do. That was how. So this my elderly friend said he now made a mistake. He said he made a mistake, and it's a very big lesson. He said his brother, that elderly brother, in that meeting, his elderly brother insulted him, he ridiculed him, he made him look like he was nothing. He now said, Egbon, he swore by God, by Allah, that he didn't do all that. And he now said, Egbon, for all these things you are saying to me, all these things, I promise you, I'm making a promise today. I'm making a vow today that will never come to you. or any of my brother, any of my elderly brother, all of you outside, I'll never come to any one of you for help. I will build my own house. I'll never come to any one of you for help in my life. So he left his hometown. He's a native of Ondo State, so he left his hometown, came to Lagos. Came to Ibadan, started looking for work, doing this and that, till he got that job. The job, with this multinational company. He got the job, and because he was very intelligent and very hardworking, between the space before under the span of 10 years, he attained the managerial position in that company. He was earning so well. He had his house, he had cars, he had his wife, and he's living fine. But because of health issues and some other issues, he had to resign that job. Now, he told me, he said, now I'm in the situation of needing I'm in a situation of need. I need help. And I have people that can help me. I have brothers that are very rich. I mean, rich in the sense of rich. I have brothers that though he was telling me that though they are not cordial again, or there's no cordial relationship between them anymore. But if they hear that he is sick, they will start sending money for him to go and take him, sending money to his mom, to his wife, to go and take care of him. But they cannot help him. And he also cannot go to them because of what he said that day. And he said that remains the biggest mistake he has made in his life. To vow in the presence of his brothers that he will never come to anyone of them for help again. Now he said he needs help, but he cannot go to them. Look at this big lesson. Yes.
We'll be having our break by 11:50 to 12.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. So that means I have 1 minute. So, like, the point I'm trying to make here is that silence is golden. When you're having difficult situation, one of the best things to do, be truthful. And when it is becoming even difficult to talk and to respond, just keep silent. Just be looking. Because whatever you say at that point will be driven by an emotion, and you may regret it later in life. Now, so let me stop here so we can have our break, then we'll come back.
All right, sir. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we'll be going for a 10-minute break now, and we'll have you back in the next. Okay.
All right. Suleha, Prophet Yusuf ran away from the woman. Suleha is her name. So he ran away from her because the conversation was becoming difficult for him to handle. So, and that was why I said sometimes when handling this difficult situation requires that you remain silent or you leave. So remaining silent, and I narrated that story, I narrated to you that sometimes when a conversation is becoming difficult, it's better not to say anything than to now say what you regret later. So another thing you can do is to leave. To leave, because it can lead to anger. When the conversation is becoming difficult and heated, it can lead to anger. And when you're angry, there is nothing that you cannot do. Anger is just like small madness. You can do anything. You can do the unthinkable. So you leave. You run away. And sometimes it's not even anger. It may be that you sense that, oh, this will lead to a big problem. Just like Joseph felt that this is going to be a big problem for me. What would I say? What would I say happened? That I now had an illicit affair with my own master's wife. No. So he ran away. So when you're handling difficult conversation, sometimes you can leave. However, this also requires some wisdom. It depends on who you are having that relationship, that conversation with. It depends on who you're having that conversation with. If you're having it together with your colleague, with somebody who you're of equal position, equal category or equal age, or that just to call each other, you're equal in the sense of equality in that place where you find yourself, maybe at work, maybe in your street, so you can leave, you can just walk away. But if you are in the presence of somebody who has authority more than you, it's difficult to. You may not need to run away, you may not need to leave, because that would also be disrespectful. So if you want to leave, you take excuse or you pretend, yeah. Because sometimes to solve a problem, you just have to pretend as if yes, it's fine. So you can just seek your excuse yourself, or find an excuse for you to move out of that place. You could say you want to go and ease yourself, or you want to go and get some fresh air outside, you want to go and just, or you're hungry, need something to go and to take it to eat, just make sure that you leave that place. So there's a way to live. There's a wisdom. I mean, you need to apply wisdom when walking away from difficult conversation. If the person is a master to you, is somebody that is of higher position to you, you don't just leave. You can pretend or just excuse yourself out. Don't just leave, walk away like that. It will be disrespectful and rude. So, for instance, if you are with your boss, you can't walk away. You can't walk out on your boss. It's not too good. If you are with your parents, you can't walk out on your parents. Oh, that is even the height. That is even too bad. If you are with your spouse too, if you are a woman, you can't walk out on your husband. You can just, like I said, find a way to excuse yourself politely. I need to go ease myself. Oh, or I need to go. Just find a way to excuse it politely. Don't walk out on him as if to show that you are angry and you are not going to budge down. You're not going to, agree with what he's saying. So there are conversations that when you want to walk away, you walk out with wisdom. Yusuf was trying to run away. He was with his master. The wife of one's master is also one's master. So he walked. It's like, so the decision was like he was walking out on that woman, and that woman felt ridiculed. She felt disrespected. So she chased after him and dragged his clothes from behind, and the clothes tore. Because yes, that is out of disrespect, to walk out on somebody that is a boss or a master to you. So we are still going to, in our group discussion, we are going to start thinking about it now. What will be your own, if you find yourself in a useless position, what will have been your own reaction? What would you have done? If you find yourself with somebody, a master to you, an elderly person to you, that you cannot walk out on that person, just like that, what would you have done? So, and it was at that point that the husband came in. And immediately, the woman framed the story. She framed what happened. And she just put all the blame on Yusuf. My husband, can you see what this boy is trying to do with me? Hey, he came me inside my personal apartment to come and have an illicit affair with me. So she framed it. Look at it again. This is very difficult conversation. So what can Yusuf say? What does he have to say in that place? So what can he say? So, but then Almighty Allah vindicated him, because somebody later made a sensible judgment that, let us, because the issue became known to the people of the house. So somebody said, let us look at where the clothes was torn. If it's at the front, if it's at the back, then the woman is at fault. If it's at the front, then Yusuf is at fault. So they found the clothes to be torn from the back. So they said they realized that the woman was at fault. So nothing was done to Yusuf. But Yusuf said something when he was asked, what happened? What happened that you are with the wife of your master? He said, call her hiyaro wadatni and nafsi. She was the one that drew me closer to her. She was the one that wanted to have something with me, not me. Again, when you're in difficult conversation, be logical to say the truth. When you say the truth will set you free in that situation you find yourself. So he said the truth. So the story continued. Again, after that pronouncement of Yusuf's innocence, the woman called him again. This is becoming so difficult for Yusuf. The woman called him again to have a conversation with him. And of course, this is a difficult conversation. She said, Yusuf, Aridi and Haga was takfiri. Okay, sorry. She said, she called him again and she said, see, okay, sorry. Okay. She called all the women in the town. I mean, there's some women heard about what happened. So she organized like a feast, like a get together for those women to come. So for those women to come, and she now told them what happened. And she said Yusuf to come out so they can see him. So when they saw him, they were like, no, this is not a ordinary human being. This is an angel. And they were cutting something that time. They actually cut their own fingers because of the beauty that Yusuf had. So she now said to those women that, see, if he doesn't accept what I want to say, say, aya lọ sẹ́wọ̀n ni. Aya lọ sẹ́wọ̀n ni, he will be ridiculed. I will turn him to the lowest of the lowest in this town until he accepts what I want. So then Yusuf now said, Yusuf heard all what they were saying, and he made a prayer. He said, Qala Rabbi sijinu ahabu ilayya mimma yad'unani ilayhi wa illa tasrif anni kaydahunna asbi ilayna kum minal jahilin. Oh my God. He said, to go to the prison is more preferable to him. He loves to go to the prison than to do what this woman is calling him to do. So that, and then I said, well, Allah, if you don't turn me away, if you don't turn me away from their evil, I fear that he become one of the ignorant, meaning that he may be tempted to do what the woman wants him to do. Now, he said that prayer that I would prefer to go to the prison than to do what they are calling me to. Now, again, this prayer is a difficult prayer to make. And Allah said, yes, Allah answered that prayer. And he protected him, he saved him, he turned him away from their plots. And what prayer did he make? That Allah should put him in prison is better for him than to do what they want him to do. Then yes, Allah answered the prayer. Allah made him to put him in prison. So when you're having a difficult conversation, don't make the mistake of saying what you later regret. Like the story I narrated about that man. So be logical, be factual, think of what to do that won't put you into trouble, that won't put your life into jeopardy. Think of what to do. Now, then the story continued. It continued. I want to cut it short because we need to do our group discussion. So to the point whereby it was in the prison. Some people had a dream. Okay, let me talk about that part of the dream. When he was actually brought out of the prison, the king had a dream, and no one could interpret the dream. Then one of the servants of the king that has once been with Yusuf in the prison, and whom Yusuf has interpreted his dream to him, remembered Yusuf after many years. So he remembered him and said, I know somebody that can interpret this dream. So they went to bring Yusuf. And Yusuf interpreted the dream. And the king was like, what made you to be in the prison? You were supposed not to be in the prison. And he now narrated that story, and he narrated the story. Then the king said something. He said something. That is in verse 54 of Surah Yusuf, Quran 13. He said, the king said, this particular young man, that young man, bring him. The young man that interpreted our story and my dream and saved us from famine. Bring him. As Taklisu knows, I'm going to make him part of me. Like I want him I want to designate him to be a special advisor to me. So Falama Kalamo. So he spoke to him. The king spoke to Yusuf, and he said, "Kola innaka liyawma I mean, today you have become one of the trusted people among us. That you have become a person of authority. You are going to hold a position in this town." So Yusuf now said, "Kola ij'alni ala khaza'in al-ardi inni hafizun alim." He said, "Make me to be to oversee the stores, the farmland and the stores, the warehouses, the government stores where foods are kept. In hafizun alim, I'm knowledgeable and I can protect it very well." So now look at that conversation that Yusuf had with the king. It was effective. It's an effective communication. How? Because the king said, "Okay, I want to make you a special advisor to me." Then he said, "Oh, why not make me to be a superintendent over foods, over agriculture, over stores, over warehouses, anything that to do with food? Let me be a superintendent over it." Like said, the king said, "Fine, that is okay." Now, effective communication. One of the tools of effective communication is recognizing your ability. Recognizing your own ability. What you can do, what you can say, what you can take, and what you cannot take. So if a conversation is going to the extent of somebody now saying something to you that you feel will create problem, then you need to stop that conversation. You need to be assertive. Assertive is when you try to make your point politely, like saying that, "I'm sorry, I don't feel comfortable with that topic you are trying to bring up. Can we switch to another topic?" That is being assertive. You feel, because that is being assertive, you feel like if this topic should continue, if the discussion should continue, it will lead to problem for you. And it may trigger some emotions in you, and the whole thing will tumble. So because if you are not assertive on that, you will later become aggressive. The person will say something that will now trigger you, and you now react negatively to that person. So effective communication, one of the tools is you reviewing what the person has said, process it in your mind, then recognize your own emotion. What are you feeling right now? Recognize your ability. What can I do? What can I not do? Then you now respond. This is a theory of 3 R's, the 3 R of communication: review, recognize, respond. So he told the king that, "Let me be a superintendent over agriculture, food, and so on." And that was how he was made that. So he became somebody of high position in Egypt. He maintained that position for years. There was famine in the whole land, and his brother had to come from where they were living to Egypt to look for food. And that was how they found, that was how Yusuf found his brothers. When they came, he recognized them, but they did not recognize him. So what he did was to take his brother. And how he did that was that he asked his messengers to go and put his golden cup, because now Yusuf is a minister in Egypt. So he asked one of his messengers to go and put his golden cup in Bunyamin's belongings. So he put it there. They bought the food. They were about going out of the city when an announcement was made that somebody had stolen the minister's cup. So they found it in Bunyamin's belongings, and they had to arrest him. So the other brothers came back and said, "Oh king, please, let us go with our brother. Take one of us instead." He said, "No, it is the person that has committed this offense that we're going to hold responsible, so others can go." He said, "But you have an elderly father He will cry. He said, no, don't worry. Let's go and meet that father. Go and tell him what his son did. So when they left, Yusuf took his brother, Bunyamin. He took him inside and I said, I'm your brother Yusuf. So they were happy. They were united again. Now, I'm heading to conflict resolution now between Yusuf and his brothers. And this is where the story will end. What Yusuf did was to collaborate with his brother, just like his own brother did back then, collaborating with other brothers to throw him into the well. So Yusuf collaborated with his brother. I have a plan. I need to take you I want to take you away from those people because they are evil. So you be with me here. Okay? So then he asked those brothers to go and then he asked them to go and bring their father. No, sorry. He asked them to go and they were begging. So he said, okay, do you know me? They said, no. He said, I am Yusuf. We are very sorry. Yusuf. So they apologized. And he told them, don't worry, I've forgiven you. Well, is my father still alive? They said, yes, go and bring my father. And all my household, bring everybody to Egypt. So they went, they brought his father, they brought every one of them, and they came back and when they came into Egypt, they prostrated to him, fulfilling that dream that Yusuf had many years back. So Yusuf collaborated with his brother. He also compromised. How did he compromise? Bunyamin has not stolen anything, but he had to fake it like he stole something. Yes? So he had to compromise his own brother because he wants to resolve a conflict. Then when all those ones now realize that, oh, this is Yusuf, then communication happened. So the three C's of conflict, we have collaboration, compromise, and communication. Then communication happened. Now, effective communication now. So Yusuf told them, I am Yusuf, your brother. Do you remember what you did to your brother, Yusuf? He said, are you Yusuf? He said, yes, I'm Yusuf. They decided apologizing. He said, don't worry, I've forgiven you. Go and bring my father, go and bring everybody. So that was how the story ended. Yusuf later forgave them. Now, I'll round off this story by telling you that you need three things from this story and from all discussion I've had since more than an hour ago. You need three things to be able to control your communication, to make it effective, and to be able to resolve any conflict you have with anybody. The three things. The first is appreciation. Appreciation. The second is patience. Third is forgiveness. Yes, forgiveness. So when you say appreciation, what is the position of appreciation in communication and conflict resolution? It's very, very important. And it's important because a lot of time we overlook the good things we have and start chasing those things that we are looking for. Start chasing our shadows. How do I mean? Let me give you an example. A mother called me, my son is this, is that. He doesn't speak to anybody in the house again. He hates his father. In fact, he's beginning to hate his mother too. Although his father was very harsh with him. But this son, he doesn't even speak to anybody in the house again. Like if his mother asks him a question, he only says, that is how he responds. So the mother was crying and like, hey, I've lost my child. So the mother called me. I said, okay. So let me speak with this boy. So she put the boy on the phone and we started speaking, started talking. Then I told him I had a session with him where I told him about forgiveness, then about patience, then about appreciation. And that solved the whole problem. And what did I tell him? I said, although your father is very harsh to you, your mother too, maybe she's harsh, but you still need to appreciate the fact that you have a father and mother. There are some children who don't have. Some don't have one of the two. Some don't even have both parents. They are all alone in this world. They are orphan child. They have no one to put their interest at heart so much as their parents would have done. The fact that you have them, yes, that is something you should appreciate. regardless of whatever altercation you have with your parents. So, and that settles it. So, and the boy was like, oh, that is true. I still have a father that pays my school fees. I still have a mother that buys clothes for me, that cooks for me. Okay, why shouldn't I forgive them? Can you see? So when you appreciate, then there'll be effective communication. Because what leads to ineffective communication and sometimes blowing issue out of hand is because you are not thankful for the favors you have. You are always fighting with your husband, always fighting. The fact that you even have somebody that pays the rent, that houses you, that gives you money for food, that feeds you, it's something to be appreciated to appreciate. There are many sisters out there who don't have this privilege, and they are dying to have it. You're always having problem with your siblings. Always having problem with your siblings. Every time there's always a family meeting where you have to settle matters. The fact that you have somebody to call a brother, you have somebody to call a sister, you should be appreciative. There are some people who don't have anyone. We don't have any, they are just all alone, hustling all alone. No brother to call, no sister to call. And I used to tell children too, little children, now this is, but I will say it. When I have some discussion with them, I was like, some of you used to complain that, my mommy always send me message too much. Am I the only one? She is, I know, but every time she be sending me Maggie, she be sending me onions. Hey, thank Allah that you have legs to go on errands. There are some children who don't have legs. They are moving about on wheelchair. So that's when I tell them that it's like it's light up a bulb, light it's light a bulb in their mind, like, oh, that is true. Your mother is sending you a message because you have eyes to see the road. If you don't have eyes, she will not send you. And if that eventually happens to you, you'll be dying for her to send you a message, but she will not send you because you don't have eyes. So thank Allah that He gave you eyes that you can use to see the road and deliver your mother's message. So it's about our mindset. Effective communication is about our mindset. It's about appreciating God for His favors for us, then expressing our mind genuinely. And when you are communicating with somebody and you show that appreciation, it downs any tension that may arise. You want to talk to your boss, for instance, about something that you feel you are not comfortable with. You now started by saying, sir, I thank you for the trainings you've been giving me in this place of work. In fact, I've grown, in fact, I've developed so much in my career and personal life. I've learned so much from you. I've learned so much from you. In fact, I'm not like before. I'm not like I used to be before I joined this company. I think the way I think, so I'm getting a lot from you and from this workplace. But sir, there's this issue that I want you to attend to it. I want to draw your attention to that. You now mention what you want to. You now start saying what you want to say. What have you done first? You appreciate your boss. You appreciate that your workplace. And even what you're about to say, if it's something that should make your boss to be angry, she will not be angry. You have praised her. You have appreciated her. You thank her for giving you that space to work and learn and hand salary, even though it is little, to hand something to make a living. She will not be angry with you. So let's have a positive mindset. Let's have an appreciative mindset, a thankful mindset. When we talk, let's appreciate people first before we tell them complaints, before we complain to them. And I'll teach you something today. There's a principle we call sandwich principle, or you can say sandwich approach to communication. Look at a sandwich. You have that thing that looks like bread. You have all the everything inside, and you have another thing that looks like bread covering it. Abi? So you have that half, like that half circle of the bread. You have those things that they'll put after. Then you have the bread also. That's a sandwich. Go. Now, it's an approach. You can learn from that. The upper part, that bread part, is the positive. When you want to talk to somebody, always come with positivity. Start with positivity. And one of the best ways to show you are positive is to be thankful, to appreciate. You need to talk to your husband about something that is very, very, that you don't like, and it makes you angry, it triggers you. First of all, appreciate him. Come with appreciative mind, come with positive mind. My husband, may Allah bless you. In fact, you now praise him, pray to him, pray for him. Some women can go overboard in this. So they'll start calling their husband different name when they want to collect money. Yes, that's a sandwich. Women use it a lot, but they don't know. You want to collect money from your husband, you start, my odogu, my this, my that, my kinikan. Orí ọkọ náà máa wú pé, èmi odogu, èmi ATM. She will now ask what she wants to ask. And she will now end it with prayer. That is sandwich. Even if the husband doesn't have the money, he will look for the money. Yes, it's an approach in effective communication. So you start with the good parts, then come with the difficult parts. The good part first, followed by the difficult, then end it with goodness. Oh, can I illustrate the approach? Okay. Sorry. Let me see if I can. Okay. As we're having our conversation, maybe I will do that. Maybe I'll do that as we're having our conversation. Yeah. So this is an approach in communication. Always come with positive and end with positive. Then put whatever you want to put. Complain, you want to set boundaries, whatever you want to put it in the middle. But always start with positive, end with positive. Right? So appreciation. Please take note of this. You need it for your effective communication and conflict resolution. Number 2 is forgiveness. Forgiveness. If you don't have a forgiving mind, you will not be able to resolve your conflicts, and you will not be able to have effective communication. Yorùbá will say, tá bá gbàgbé ọ̀rọ̀ àná, àìrẹ́ni bá ṣeré. Tá bá gbàgbé ọ̀rọ̀ àná, àìrẹ́ni bá ṣeré. That is, if you don't forgive people for what they've done in the past, you will not have companions again. You don't have friends. You don't have people you can talk to anymore. Because I want to guarantee you that everybody you are talking to today has done something to you before that you don't like. Maybe you don't count it, maybe you don't see it, but the day you have problem with that person, you start to remember what that person has done in the past that you overlooked. Even if I'm your friend, if I'm your best friend, I've said something before, I've done something before that you don't like. But why are we still friends? Because you forgive me. So if you can't forgive, if you find it difficult to forgive, you have a problem in your communication. And to learn to forgive, start with forgiving yourself. Start by forgiving yourself. Don't beat yourself for your mistakes and your errors. See it as a learning curve. Stand up and move on. Life doesn't end at that. So, because one way, do you know how people keep punishing themselves for their own mistakes? Is when they keep regretting. Self-regret is a big problem, and self-blame, they keep blaming themselves. And that will limit the rate at which they can, relate with people. It will even limit their rate of success in life. So you need to learn how to forgive. And we should also always seek forgiveness from our Creator, because definitely we also sin against Him and He forgives us. So you should learn to forgive other people too. The third is patience. You should learn to be patient. Patience, to have effective communication, it requires patience. If not, that communication you're having will start as a normal communication, as a normal conversation, then it will start to become difficult for you. So you need to be patient. And to also resolve conflict, you need patience, a lot of patience. You need to learn to collaborate, to compromise, to communicate patiently. Don't be in a haste. Don't be in a hurry. And that is the problem with a lot of conflict resolution steps. And that is why I'm not coming here with textbooks or with theories. Because what's the, for instance, globally, look at the world. Why do we still have, why do we have a genocide going on in Palestine right now? This conflict has been ongoing for many years. And the international community, the UN, have been trying to resolve it. But have they been able to resolve it? No. Conflict resolution is not a kia something. It's not a masa thing. It's not like something that is in a hurry. It takes time. It takes patience to get the conflict totally resolved, depending on the kind of conflict anyway. But when it has to do with relationships, it takes time to resolve it. Because relationships don't just happen physically, in the physical realm. It also happens in the emotional realm, in the spiritual realm. You feel very hurt if somebody you love betrayed you, isn't it? That's a conflict. That's a conflict of interest. You love the person betrayed you. That's a conflict. It will take time to heal. It will take time for you to forgive that person. So it's not a care thing, no, right? So you need to be patient. And when you see that you're in a relationship or you are in any way you find yourself, and there's a problem, there's a challenge, there's a conflict going on, don't don't uh don't overlook it like, oh, it's nothing. Don't pretend as if nothing is happening. Try to solve it. Try to resolve it. Because if you don't resolve it, what will happen is that you end up hurting yourself. Because when you don't try to resolve your conflict, you are repressing your emotion. And when you repress your emotion, it means you are killing yourself internally, little by little. A time will come when you have a fatal outburst, meaning that a time will come where you're going to explode. Because there's a limit to what your mind can take. If it has gotten to the peak, your mind will not be able to take it again. You'll be able to repress your emotion again. So it will lead to an explosion. At that point, you may do things that you later regret in life. You may say things that you later regret in life. So little conflicts adds up to become major conflicts. So resolve them. And like I said, there are always underlying factors. If you are not talking to one, if you have somebody that doesn't talk to you, or you're not talking to somebody, you are keeping malice, or you have grudges against one, that is not the problem. Something caused that problem. That is what you should treat. And you know, communication and conflict, these are dynamics of every relationship. They must be there. If you don't have communication and conflict in your relationships, then it's not a relationship. It's not a genuine relationship. Yorùbá will say, sometimes for you to be able to cooperate with another person and become party of life is for you to first of all have conflict. Then when you now resolve that conflict, that is what will make you to be able to move together, be able to work together, to be able to roll together. But if you are with anybody, and mark this, if you are with anybody or you are in any place, you've never had conflict with people around there. And conflict here doesn't mean you now start fighting everybody. No. I mean, you've never had differences of opinion with anybody in your relationship or your place of work or with anybody. That is I'm telling you, it's a waiting time bomb. It's a time bomb waiting to explode. That relationship will never last. There needs to be conflict of some sort. Okay? And conflict sometimes can be healthy for you too, because it breeds cooperation. And conflict doesn't mean that you have to fight it out or you have to talk against yourself. But it helps you to understand the divergence in your relationship with anybody, that, oh, this is what this person like. This person doesn't like this thing. Okay. Me too, this is what I like. This is what I don't like. Okay. Now self-awareness, then now self-regulation. Let me regulate myself anytime I'm with this person. Okay, these are what I will not say when I'm with this person. This is what I will do when I'm with this person. You start managing your own emotions. And that is how you can be able to have effective communication and conflict resolution in any relationship you find yourself. So let me open the floor now. I've been talking. Now let me hear from anyone who wants. First of all, let me hear if there's any contribution or somebody wants to ask a question before I now begin to ask my own question and we start having this interaction till we end this session by the grace of God. So, Sister Muiba, over to you.
Jazakumullah khairan, sir. Really appreciate what you've been saying for the past 1.5 hours. So please, do you have any questions? He has been talking about conflict, effective communication for the past 1 hour. He mentioned how we could manage conflict by collaboration and compromising. And he also mentioned how we can also manage conversation when it's difficult by being truthful or we remain silent. So please, what do we have to ask? Or do we have any contribution so far? Please, you mentioned 3 types of relationship from the beginning. You said relationship with our creator, the one with ourselves. Which one was that second one?
With our fellow human
Okay,
being. Okay, while we are waiting for for the audience to talk, I have a question. Anybody that this has happened to can tell us. Have you found yourself in a situation whereby your boss shouted at you? Anybody? Just a yes or no. That's what I want to.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so your boss shouted at you. What did you do that made your boss to shout at you?
He wasn't around, and I also had an emergency, so I had to leave the workplace, and he got angry.
Okay. Then what do you now do after that? What do you do?
I tried explaining things to him and reminding him that I've never done something like that before, but he wasn't hearing any of that.
Okay. Okay, but later on he calmed down and things went back to normal, right?
Yes, but that closeness was not like before.
Okay. Did he punish you? Like he took a part of your salary for that, or did he do any something that to show you a consequence?
He only sent me home for some time and allowed me to come back.
Okay. Okay, fine. So I'll thank you for that. So I want to analyze what happened in the light of what you have just discussed. That incident, your boss wasn't around and you left the workplace. It shows that there was no effective communication. You didn't communicate with him. You didn't make him realize how urgent and how important what you want to do, what you want to go and do is. He will never listen. No. After you left the workplace, you are not trying to explain. He will never listen. Yes, because there was no effective communication in the beginning. Now, so when he now came back and you now try to explain, at that point, you should have explained anything. Just start to beg him. Oga, I'm sorry, sir. Oga, I'm sorry, sir. Just beg him. Yes. So, see, there's something with human psychology. Human beings always want to feel important and relevant. So, you not telling him is like he's not important to him. Yes, that is what it means. And in this case, you are leaving his business. You left and leave his business like that, and because only on a phone or no one will always want to joke with his or her business where he or she sees money to feed his family. So, but when it has happened, at that point, you just have to seek forgiveness, just apologize by all means. So, not to try to make a point, because he will not listen at that point. And that is the difficult conversation we are talking about. When that thing has happened, nobody's above mistake. What you did, I could have done that. Any one of us here could have done that. But about the they will now have this conversation with our boss and start shouting. The conversation is becoming difficult. How do we undo it? First, we say the truth. We say the truth. Oga, this is what I went to do. Then what is the second step? Silence. Just remain silent. Don't say anything again. Because see, when you are silent, you put that your guy in difficult. Yes, he's having a difficult conversation with you. You put him in more difficult corner because he won't know what to say. He wouldn't know what to say again. He wouldn't know the next line of action. He will end up saying, because you are not saying anything that is going to build up on. So when you don't have points, just keep quiet. So that person will not start building up on what you are saying. And he will now take action based on what you are saying. Right? So then when he now asks you to go, he now asks you to come back. When he asks you to come back, the next thing you should do when he has to come back is to apologize again for what happened. Make him understand that you are sincerely sorry. Not like, ṣèbí ó ní kí n padà wá ni, kò ṣe lọ gbẹ́ lómi kó máa bá ṣiṣẹ́ lọ. Ìgbà tí ò rẹ́ lómi tá bá iṣẹ́, you understand that kind of thing. Make him understand that you are sorry for what happened and you never repeat it again. Then they can bet you that relationship, your relationship with your boss will go back to normal. Because we also realize that nobody is above mistake. By the way, what you did to him, he has done it to somebody before. I found out to be true in business and even in relationships too. What you do to people will do it to you as well. So it may also now, maybe something may touch his mind that, then you know, that kind of thing. So that is that. Always try to have effective communication. Like, we mentioned that Prophet Yusuf, when he had a dream, the following morning, he told his father. He told his father immediately, and the father advised him. That is what communication breeds. You must always talk. Don't just assume. You assume that, you're going to understand, I think important. So when I come back, I'll just tell him that what I went to do was very, very important. He should be able to understand. No, you are assuming. No. You don't have to assume. Tell him. And this goes also for any relationship. Don't assume that your friend should understand. Don't assume that your husband should understand. Don't assume that your wife should understand. Don't assume that your boss should understand. Or even your child. Don't assume that he or she should understand. No. Explain. Say it. Discuss it. Assumption kills relationship. Assumption, it kills relationship slowly. Yes. Till the relationship dies completely. When you assume, I think he's having another fiancé. I think you're just assuming. You are not sure. So it's something that shouldn't do. Anybody that want to share? Is there anybody that want to share an experience he or she had before with people in terms of communication and conflicts, so that we can learn from it as well? Anyone?
Anyone,
Hello.
please.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry for any background noise. I'm not in a that quiet place. What I would just want to say is the fact that um this conflict resolution, there is this thing we call systematic coaching in counseling. This systematic coaching usually help in conflict resolution. Do you understand? Like when you try to identify what the problem is through evidence or immediate way of knowing exactly what the challenge is. Sometimes you might feel that the person you are dealing with, maybe your boss, according to what the facilitator just said, that when you assume that that person is thinking that you should understand exactly what you are going through. So whenever you react or do anything or say anything, then you should be able to go in line with what you have said. No. Sometimes you might be thinking that this person is thinking A and the person is thinking B. So when you speak, when you talk, then you will realize that the person really did not really understand what you are saying. And that's why it's not good to usually kind of jump to conclusions. I remember when I was having a kind of conversation with my sister once. I was okay, something happened as regards a particular child living with another person. So I was not telling my sister that that particular child that was living with that person might not really be okay staying with that person. Maybe that is why she had to leave the house. That we should not judge that girl that she left the house without telling anybody. So my sister was not arguing with me that how can you say that that person what she did is good? And how about what this person did? She was explaining other things. Me, I was not telling her that, okay, not knowing that the conversation I was having with my sister that day had another foundation of whatever the response she was giving me. So she already hold a notion about me that I did not know for about 11 to 12 years. He hold a particular notion against me that I did not know. It was the conversation we are now having. That's about 12 years after that time. That was when she was not reacting. I was not like, why is she reacting negatively to what we are saying? That we are just discussing. I just kept quiet. So when I kept quiet, she was not telling me that, oh yeah, talk now, talk. I did not talk again. So the fact that I was keeping quiet, trying to think that this thing cannot really be the reason why she's acting this way. There might be more to this thing. So that kept me silent. So she was not like, she was kind of feeling like, why don't you talk? So because I was not talking, she now later pour out her mind. Like, do you know when you were staying with somebody at a particular year, as in a certain year ago? And I said, yes. Didn't you leave the place? And I said, yes. But I was not comfortable. I was able to feel that girl's pain. That was why I said the girl left probably because she doesn't want to stay in that place. She now said, is it not a friend that took me to where I took a bus and leave that place that time? Do you understand? See that kind of confusion. And that her friend that she was talking about, I was not even okay with that girl because the girl usually talk like a local person then when I was young. So I'll be like, I don't want to talk to this kind of a person. So I don't have any good relationship with that person. I don't even talk to the person. So in fact, she kept a grudge against that her friend for 9 years because she thought that her friend has something to do with me. I was now trying to explain to her that, okay, this is what you have been keeping. Okay, I did not have anything to do with your friend. What am I trying to point out? And this is also sounding, I'm trying to contribute to let us understand how silence can help us in resolving conflict and letting us understand our own emotions and other people's emotions and get some other, it helps us get some facts and information that we need in order for us to better our own relationship with such person. And at the same time, whatever I'm saying now to the facilitator, sir, I would like you to answer a question from this too. So what am I saying is that, okay, fine, she has a notion. You know, some set of people, we have some kind of category of people in life that no matter how much you try to be calm, patient, appreciative to them. All these three principles that you have given us, which is appreciation, patience, and forgiveness. No matter what you try to do to these people, they already have a notion that they are not ready to change. And there's nothing you can do about it. In such situation, what I did is I set my boundary and I do one, in the sense that I relate with them. I know in my mind I don't have any negative thoughts against them. I don't have any issues with them. If there's any good thing I had to do, I do it. But there's something I do. I will not allow them blackmail me emotionally for me to dance to their opinion about me, in order for me not to progress or achieve the set goals I have for myself. I don't know if what I'm doing is right, but I feel from what you have taught us now, I'm trying to be okay and be sane on my own. So I'm now asking, that kind of relation, after we've explored those things that you've taught us, because there will be some people here, maybe a worker, a wife, or a daughter on this platform, or even an husband, a son on this platform, that will be thinking that, how do I relate with this my father that does not really understand how life is? All he wants is, he just wants me to follow his own step without thinking about my feelings. How do I relate to such parents? How do I relate with a boss that is always particular about getting his own things done and forgetting about the burnout, the stress I go through in order to satisfy his company? Do you understand? Or to a wife that has done everything she feels she can do, or explore everything you've been learning. This is the 5th week, and they still find out that such men are still kind of selfish. Sorry to use that word. They will not calm down to understand that we are trying to make effort on our own part. What should we do? I hope I've not talked too much, moderator.
That's right. Thank you for the input, ma.
Now, okay, to answer the question, it's a technical question actually, and it's just a reality. We have people around us like that. That no matter how hard you try, it still feels as if you have not done anything, and they will end up exhausting your patience. This kind of people will exhaust your patience. We say we should be patient, but they will exhaust it. So what can you do now? It's simple but difficult. What you should do is just focus on yourself. Yes, just focus on yourself. And you focus on yourself, try do the right thing, try to become better at what you do, and take away, okay, let me explain this way. The reason why we always feel like, this person, there's no matter how hard I try, he doesn't appreciate me, he doesn't feel like I'm doing it, he doesn't want to change. It's because we concern ourselves too much about that person and leave aside our own needs. Yes, we sacrifice too much, and this is the reality. We sacrifice too much for people and leave away our own needs. And this sacrifice is not for anything but to get the pleasure of that person. Now, many of us are Muslims here. Gaining pleasure of human being or that of Allah, which one is more important? We all say that getting the pleasure of Allah, isn't it? Then how do you get pleasure of Allah? You focus on yourself, become more better, become a better Muslim, become more better at the good things you do. That is how you gain Allah's pleasure. And you still try to keep good relationship with those persons, doing what you're supposed to do to them. And this, I can give us an example, a scenario. During the time of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu he found himself in this kind of situation, whereby his own uncles were his own staunch enemies. The likes of Abu Jahl, the likes of Abu Lahab, they were his staunch enemies, and they were his uncles. They were his father's elder brothers. So, but what did he do? He still maintained, that family bond. He did not deny them that they are not their family. But Prophet Islam focused on himself. He focused on his mission. He didn't concern himself with the fact that I have an uncle that is opposing what I'm doing, that is oppressing my followers. What can I do about this uncle? What? No. Even when people come to Prophet Islam to tell him about that his uncle, what does he do? He advised them to focus on their deen and leave that one aside. Yes, if you're able to do this, it will give us some level of internal accomplishments, internal joy. Because I can tell you, when you focus on yourself and you're trying to achieve your own personal goals, that internal joy will be there. Especially when you try to keep a good relationship with your creator. That is the height of it. No one will hurt you. I guarantee you. And nothing anyone will do that will now make you feel like, oh, that is the end of the world. No, it may pain you, but you will move on with your life because you have your life to deal with, not with another person's life. Now, trying to still satisfy those kind of people who would not change is like you using medicine for another person's headache. Yes, it's their own headache. If they don't want to change, that is it. If you have this boss that always wants the height of it is for you to leave the job. But if you not leave the job for whatever reason, keep doing what you're supposed to do. Just keep doing what you're supposed to do. And anytime it comes with his problems of you did not make the deadline, just apologize. Okay, I'm sorry I couldn't make the deadline, but that wasn't really my fault. Let him understand what happened, or let him understand that the workload was too much for you. Then you continue. IS is going to relieve you of his job, and fine and good. That is not the end of the world. You move on with your life. You have a spouse that would not just change. Despite all these tactics, trying to have this effective communication, try to resolve the conflict amiably, but it will not just change. Then focus on yourself. Just put him aside. Yes, fulfill his right. Give him what you need to do, what you need to give him. If you are the husband and it's your wife, do what you're supposed to do as an husband. If you are the wife and he's your husband, do what you're supposed to do as a wife to him. Respond, don't react. Don't say because of he's not having effective communication with you, he's always having trouble with you. Don't say I will not cook for him today. No. If he asks you to cook, cook. But just put him aside. Yes, focus on yourself. Focus on your relationship with your creator. You remember I said 3 relationships, Abi? Relationship with your creator, with your human being, fellow human beings, and with yourself. The aspect where we have the biggest problem is with our fellow human beings. So if you're having a problem in that aspect, you are not able to resolve it because some people would not allow you to have a good relationship with them. Then focus on the remaining 2, your creator and yourself, and you'll be fine. And there's nothing that God cannot do, because we are Muslims here. We believe that Allah can bring about change even when you least expect it. So this person may realize and change. That is how Allah does his things. Okay, so that is the advice I'm going to give to anybody in this situation that have people around him or her that are making things difficult, that are making conversation difficult, that are making communication be difficult. Then just set boundaries around yourself, put them aside, then focus on yourself, do things that will make you happy, be happy with yourself, develop yourself, grow yourself, and have a good relationship with your creator. Next week, by the grace of God, we're going to talk more about this because we're talking about boundaries next week, by the grace of God. Thank you. Sister Maiba.
All right, sir. Jazakumullah khairan, sir.
Someone asked me in the chat box that I should demonstrate the sandwich approach. So this is it. I just got this online. We can also check for it online. Although this picture they're having here is not the true picture of a sandwich. This is not how the sandwich looks like. But this is what they are, the top bun, the filling, and the bottom bun. So positive statements, negative feedback, then positive statement. So it works well. It works like magic. Let's always adopt it. In fact, this when you want to break news, want to break a news to anyone or something that happened, it's good to use this. Yes, maybe a child has scored that's scored lesser than what he or she had expected to score in an exam, or this is how to break the news. Sandwich approach. Come with positive, praise the child, encourage the child, give complimentary comments. You've done well, you've tried your best, you read, we all saw that, Allah saw that you tried, but then your result, your score was not what we had all expected, right? That is the feeling, that's the negative feedback. Then quickly cover it up with another positive comment, like, but don't worry, there's always another time. Yes, there's always another time. Rome was not built in a day. Yes, you did well. We are sure. There are some people there are some children that have good score, high score, but they cannot defend it. Yes, but we are sure you can defend your own because we are witness to how prepared you were for that exam, but it turned out to be what it is. So there's always another time to try. You understand? So this is how you to use that approach, and it's applicable to every aspect, relationships, in the place of work, any aspect. You can use this approach. It's a good approach to always use in communication. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We hope to meet you next week.
Inshallah.
Sister, we did not hear your voice today. Oh.
Ma?
I said,
Assalamualaikum.
hear your contribution to Walaikum Salam. You've been one of our participants.
I'm sorry, I'm just a little bit down. Do I have a question for I'm sorry, please. I have a question for our facilitator. Can I?
Yes, please.
All right. Thank you for observing. Because that's my friend. So, Asante Barakatu, sir. So my question is, how can a person survive? How can a person manage a foundation that was built on nagging? Probably, like, for example, now a man and a woman just got married, and the foundation was on nagging. Either one party complains a lot about the other party not being perfect in some ways, like that. So the nagging took like maybe years in the relationship. So now the lady or the man that is always receiving the nagging, now in the present time, doesn't even want to listen to what the man says. Wants to just open his mouth, even if the man is now a little bit is changing, not nagging as much as before. But now the foundation has been that anything he wants to say now about the work or the effort of the woman is nagging first. So she just shut her heart or her mouth and she just says, okay, I have heard. So how can she manage such a relationship?
Yes, I get this question a lot about nagging. I have a personal experience too of this. It usually happens in the early years of marriage, and if it's not quickly resolved, it's a conflict, because it's clash of interest of opinion. I think it should be done this way, but the other person think it should be done that way. So it's a conflict. So that's what bring about this nagging. So if you don't resolve it early enough, it can damage relationship. Now, what should be done is these couples should be open to themselves, like sit down to resolve it. That this is our nagging thing. Please, I want us to resolve it. When they sit, they acknowledge their mistakes, and they should adopt this strategy. Yes. It may work for them or it may not work, because relationships are different. What works for A may not work for B, but I will say it because it works for some people. And it's also what I also use. So they should agree that anytime anybody makes mistakes between the two of them, nobody talks immediately. Nobody talks immediately. Nobody corrects that mistakes immediately. You wait for a better time to speak about it. Do you know why nagging is a problem? Nagging is the same thing as correction. You are trying to correct the other person, but it becomes nagging when you are trying to correct that person on the spot when that thing is happening. So why not wait patient a little bit? Maybe if it happens in the morning, the person did a mistake, he commits an error in the morning, wait till afternoon or evening or in the night or when you bond together or in the following day, then talk about it. What you did yesterday, well, I just want to draw attention to it, Sha. Maybe you should just try to adjust. That is it. At that point, it is no longer nagging. It is feedback. It is feedback. So, and the spouse will appreciate the fact that first, it did not make him or her seem like he doesn't know how to do anything or he's always getting it wrong. Two, you respect, it's respect. Yes, when you try to correct your spouse, not on that spot, but at a better time when you feel he or she is calm, it's out of respect. Then your spouse will appreciate you for that. Especially when what that person did, that your spouse, what he or she did, was in the middle of, was in the midst of people. You now start lamenting at that point, no, that is wrong. So he or she will appreciate that, yes, this is respect. Thank you for that. And the third is that he or she will see it as feedback, as a way for as you trying to correct him or her to become a better person. So this is a strategy that works for nagging in marriage and in many relationships too, but especially in marital life. So I agree that we will not correct each other on the spot again. If you do something, I'll wait till the better time to tell you about it so you can adjust. It works a lot. That's the advice I can give you.
Does that not answer? Thank you.
Sister Maiba, it's almost time for Zuru. So if you don't have any question, maybe we can adjourn.
So in the absence of no questions,
Assalamualaikum, sir. Please, I have a question.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Now, how do you communicate with someone that, I don't know how to put this, but I hope you understand me. This person, only his opinion matters in all situations. There is nothing you want to say or what you want to do that will prove that you are also on your rights. And at the same time, you need to clarify yourself to avoid further misunderstanding. So how do you communicate with such a person?
Can I quickly ask something?
Yes, sir.
Yes. This person that you're talking about, are we talking of in marriage or before marriage?
Actually, the person is my stepdad.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I wanted to say, let me take it from the aspect of relationships that has to do with, fiancé and fiancé. If it's that, I will advise that you run away from that kind of person because it's a big red flag. Somebody that doesn't listen to any other thing except his own desire, except his own opinion, is a big red flag. If it's in marriage, then the wife or the husband has to manage that. And there are techniques to manage that. We can talk about that next week where we talk about boundaries. Now, in this particular case now, I need to understand the person you are talking about. That's why I asked the question. Sorry, it's not as if I'm trying to interfere to your personal life, but I need to understand because there are different approach to different people. So this person is in a position of authority to you. So what are you going to do? You cannot run away from him. Like, if it's like I said, before marriage is somebody that you want to marry, for instance, you can say, okay, I'm not doing it again, but you can't run away from him. And he also has the right over you because he's just like a father to you. So what you need to do is you need to manage that situation. How? you apply wisdom anytime you want to discuss with him. What you need to let him know, what is any discussion you want to have, let him have a background of it. If you are planning to, this is what I mean. Don't always surprise him with decisions or opinions. Like, I'm planning that I want to do this thing next week, or don't surprise him. He will not agree. Always let him have a background to what you want to do and let him be part of it. If it's part of it, it will be difficult for him to budge out of it. For instance, you need to travel. You got an appointment for a job outside the state where you live. So you need to travel to, you need to relocate. So you don't surprise him like, sir, I'll be relocating next week because I got a job. Let him know about the interview you did. Let him know about the application when you apply, because you know that it may lead to that and you have a problem with him when it gets to that stage. So let him have a background of what you have been doing. I went for an exam, where exam. Let him know after the interview, let him know you had an interview. I'm just using that as an example. It can be any other thing. Let him know after you've been selected. Let him know you have been selected, not before, but after. But let him know, because if it's something that you need to do and it's a process, let him be aware of those processes. I understand you may not want to tell him what you want to do. Like, you may not want to expose your plan to him at the beginning. Yes, you can wait till you are about to achieve or you achieve it before you tell him, but let him know if it's a process, let him be aware of the processes. Up to the point where you are asked to come and resume the job, he is aware already. He will not say don't go. So you can apply this wisdom to any other issue you're having with him. Don't always surprise him. People like that hate surprises. They will stamp on it immediately. Even when they know this is a good thing, this is the best thing for you, they will stamp on it. They will not allow you to go for that thing. They hate surprises. They hate suspense. Let them be aware. Let them be part of your decisions, of your opinions. And you'll be surprised that, yes, they will not have reason not to allow you. And at that point, when it is now their own opinion they want you to follow, then yes, your mom can come in and you can, it requires another level of management. But basically, don't always surprise this person. And if you need to clarify, like you said, you need to always clarify yourself. There's nothing you can do that it is his own. It is his own that matters to him. If you need to clarify, yes, clarify. Because it's a kind of difficult conversation you'll be having with him. So always say the truth. And when he's like trying to stamp over it, don't argue. Yes, don't argue. Because you can't win that kind of person. People like that, you don't argue with them to win them. Anytime you argue with them, you argue to make a point, not to win. You can't win them. So don't argue. Be truthful. Remain quiet anytime he's maybe shouting or saying something, that just remain quiet. See, when you are quiet, silence is good, do you know? It's just, we have talked about it. And Mrs. Bashira has also mentioned about it too. Yes, she has mentioned about it that, see, silence is good. When you are silent, it gives the other person, it puts the other person in an awkward position. They don't really know what to decide on your matter. So they'll end up going your way. They end up leaving it to you to handle. So don't argue. Be silent, be truthful, be silent. So till he agrees to whatever he wants. I think that's what I can advise for now. Yeah.
Yes, we truly appreciate your lecture, and we look forward to having an impactful session next week.
Sure.
So thank you for participating. Oh, someone is raising. Please, if you forward that question, you can drop it on the group. and it will be sent to the facilitator. Thank you very much, everyone. We will meet next week.
So that's my current. Thank you, ma'am.
I want to stop this.